Well, the rain has just stopped. It's been pouring down for 24 hours, and what a day I've picked to get the 890 GS serviced for its 1 year annual service. Tyres are pretty much bald, very little tread on them. I've got 50 miles, I'm going to go through lots of water. I've got the bike in rain mode. What am I doing today? Anyway, let's start it up and let's get going. Bike hasn't started for a couple of months actually. There we go. Catch me in a bit. Wow, some big black clouds over there. Bit of sunshine trying to fight through. The forecast is not good. We've just had Storm Kyra or Cairo or whatever it's damn called, with all this bad stuff happening down the south of England. We've had just lots of rain. Been putting off this service for a while now. Anyway, I had to do it. It's the 1 year service for the warranty. The bike's 14, getting on 15 months old, so I really couldn't leave it too much longer before I got it done. I didn't want to compromise the warranty regime for the warranty, or the service regime for the warranty I should say. So I've got all my wet gear on. I've got my Alpine Star winter Gore-Tex boots on. I've got my Dainese Gore-Tex trousers with linings even, and I've got my all-weather Gore-Tex top. But for the first time this year I've actually brought out the winter gloves. So these are the Risha ones. Really good, waterproof, comfy, plenty of feel, loads of protection. I took them away with me when I went to Europe, but never had the cause to use them, which is good. So yeah, so for those who have been watching the channel, a few videos ago I put a video out there inquiring about what tyre I should replace, or tyres I should use to replace on the 890R. I've got 1,440 miles thereabouts on the clock. I haven't done a lot of miles, but every one of them's been fun. And the back one shot, the Michelin Power Cup 2s, and for everyone that's commented and got back to me with suggestions and ideas and experiences and opinions, thank you so much. I've actually decided to stick with the Power Cup 2s for one fundamental reason, two really I suppose. A, the front's still got plenty of wear in it, so I don't like to put different tyres front and back, so I've decided to keep the back as the Cup 2, and then I'll replace the pair of them when the front needs replacing, which I assume, based on the lack of wear I've had on the rear, won't be too long. I'm not obviously going to be riding for a while, because obviously we're just heading into the winter now, and this is not my winter bike, this is my spring and summer bike, the GTs for the winter. And also I just want to have a chat today about what was a sort of pretty dismal affair with my GoPro. I've actually replaced my GoPro because I was having repeated issues with audio and the like, but I went out and I actually got one of the early reviews and test rides of the BMW GS 1300, or should I say, for those aficionados, R1300 GS. And I took it out, had it for a few hours, got loads of footage, only to find that, with the exception of when I picked it up for the first 5 minutes and when I got back on the GT, all I was taking was a whole bloody series of photographs. So not the GoPro's fault, pure user error. But I just want to give an update on that. So what I'm going to do now, as we're heading up to Accrington to get the bike service, I'll just play 4 or 5 minutes that I did get of the video when I test rode it the other week, and then I'll come back to you and just give you my sort of fuller thoughts on that bike. And later on this video I'll let you know how I got on with the service, what that comprised, and what they had to do. Speak to you in a second. So here we are. This is the brand new R1300 GS BMW. This is the demo bike. It's the triple black, and it's fully loaded. The only thing this bike hasn't got, I'm being told, from the accessory pack, is the dynamic height, where it drops down 30mm when you're coming to a standstill. So it's got the full luggage kit on, everything on. It's got the comfort pack with the electric screen. It's got the fog lights, It's got absolutely everything on it, so he's given me a bit of a run through, and I've never ridden a GS before in my life. First thing I was impressed with is that foam S22 Ultra, S23 Ultra will actually fit in there, so it passes the first test. So I'm gonna get away from here, set my other camera up, and I'll see what this is like. The display is nice and clear. It's like a matte finish to it, which is great. I suppose anti-glare. Let's get out of Preston. I think I'm going to head up towards Clitheroe. Nice and smooth at low manoeuvring speed. Doesn't feel heavy at all. As I said, this is the first time I've ridden a GS. I've sat on one before, and I remember it feeling wide at the tank, you know, with the legs separated. From memory, this feels a lot narrower here. Quick shifter, okay, bit of a jump, but I'm doing low speed. So, first impressions, okay. Let's see if this wind screen comes up. There we go. Coming up. That is cool, isn't it? It's got the facility for the sat nav there, already prepared. It's got the rear indicators, or the rear blind spot indicators in. As you can see, working already there. Feels really smooth. Really immediately sense that low center of gravity. The bike feels very, very upright, very stable. Okay, so I'm on the motorway now. I've been on the bike 10 minutes. This screen is the best screen I've ever had on a bike. I'm 6'1", and I can feel a bit of wind on my elbows and nothing on the helmet at all. Where if I bring it down, start to feel it now. It's getting noisier. I can feel it now. Very, very effective. And you'll see these looks like pig's ears on the left and right at the bottom. They're obviously taking the wind away, so very impressed with that. In terms of the cruise control, it's the automatic cruise control. Don't need to talk about that, we all know what that is now. That's all over YouTube, got it on cars. But yeah, uber impressed so far with that screen. I always find it interesting when you get back on your own bike after a test ride. This one feels small. I feel on top of the handlebars rather than out in front. Very much shorter. Sounds brilliant. Looks the part. Feels like a racehorse compared to the GS, but no, really enjoyed the GS. Cheers. So I was just saying to the salesman there, I said, if you were looking for just a bike to go touring on, mile munching, I think the GS might be top of the list. If I want some with attitude, personality, more sporty, Ducati. But it all comes down to what's the Gen 3 GT going to look like and feel like, and then let's make a decision when that comes out. That's going to have the 1400cc engine as well, so a lot to think about there. Anyway, you'll have seen just then the few minutes of the early thoughts on the GS. I suppose just try and sort of pull what I thought I was recording throughout the whole test ride, and I did about 160 miles, 170 miles, so it was a proper ride. I've never ridden a GS before. To be honest, I always take the mick out of them. I just think that the tractors and, you know, a bit of a click. Not quite sure why everyone liked them. Obviously the numbers of sales globally proves just that it's evidence that the success is there, and it is a really good bike. So I've got no surprise to say that after having ridden the GS for the first time, I actually had a bit of a moment where I realised, a bit of a eureka moment when I realised I now see why people rave about this bike. It really was a good bike. It did everything you'd expect it to do very, very well indeed. Pros and cons, you'll see on the video, I love the screen, that electric screen, automatic screen with the throttle toggle, with the toggle switch, really helpful. Thought that was great. I know it's only a little thing, but it's important if you're doing big miles and different types of riding. You want more protection at times other than others. I thought the power delivery was nice and linear, progressive from the get-go. Nice torque down low. I can't compare it with the old GS, but from looking at recently Teapot One's purchase, and you're watching the video, Bruce, good luck with your bike. Looks like you have many good tours and safe, happy, fun miles on that bike. I'm sure you will. You'll have seen from him, he says it's a big improvement on the 1250, so I'll take that as read. But I was surprised how smooth and the delivery was, and how linear the power was. The quick shift was nice and smooth. The ergonomics were really good. I thought the styling, actually, compared to the old GS, actually looked really good in the flesh, especially towards at the back end of it with the new subframe. It's very much a completely new bike. I'm getting a lot of spray here, but let me clear the lens. It's pretty much a new bike, new frame, new subframe. They've moved the gearbox underneath the engine rather than the back. They've redone the internals. They obviously increased the bore and the stroke and the capacity by 50 cc's up to 145 brake horse. I can't recall what the newton meters were. I think it was 149 from memory. So a little bit more newtons on the old torques than the GT have got. But I think for a 1300cc engine, the BHP really low, but that's a function of the Boxer engine, I think. Right, let me see if I can get past this car. This is getting silly, getting all the spray. Let me squeeze through those two, avoiding the white lines. That's better. Another clear of the screen. So yeah, very good bike. I thought the economy was quite average, to be honest with you. I was pushing it. On the cons, what the things I really wasn't too happy with, and I think whilst it was a powerful engine, it didn't have the top speed. Yes, it had 3-digit speed, but it was way off the mark of its equivalents, whether that be the KTM 1290 Adventure or the Ducati Multistrada V4S that I rode recently that I loved. So way off the mark in terms of that, but it's not meant to be a sporty bike. You know, I could have sworn, but that might have been a dream, I sort of get to 125, but I'm sure that was in a dream and I didn't really do that, if you know what I mean. But it was nice when it got there, nice and stable. Whilst the price is competitive at the starting point, I think the basic model sort of has 15,000 in the front of the number, but when you go to the sort of the model that most people would go for, you're looking at something with an 18 in front of the 3 digits. But then the spec I took out had pretty much all the same options that on the Ducati you would have had as basic, and it brought the price up to sort of 22 to 23 grand. So it's not the cheap bike, or it's not the cheaper bike, I should say, than the Multistrada. It's definitely cheaper, sorry, it's definitely more expensive than the Adventure, the KTM. So yeah, so didn't like the value of it as such. Didn't like the top end, and I think but other than that, the only thing I really struggled with is that it just didn't give me that flutter. It was 100 and whatever miles it did. There weren't miles where I was sitting there smiling through the visor, enjoying it, thinking wow, really having fun. It just did everything very well. And for those who have yet to buy a GS, it's going to be a great bike, and as I said very briefly at the end of the video that you've just seen, great for doing those tours. If you want something a bit more sporty, it's not the bike for you, I would suggest. I'm sure people will come back and argue that point with me now, but that's my personal view, and obviously that's what these videos are about, my personal view on my experience riding different bikes. So anyway, sorry I couldn't bring you that video properly, but there's just a bit of a summary on what I thought of the GS. I don't think it's going to be on my shopping list. So what are we doing now? We're coming up to the M6. We're going to get onto the M6 now. I'm getting the 1 year service for warranty, as I've said. I've got 1400 miles on it. I've actually just looked this morning on average, and I've kept one of my trips unreset since I bought the bike, and I'm getting 60.2 miles to the gallon, and I don't ride this gingerly at all. I am today, obviously. Just really impressed with that. Really disappointed with the fact that I'm going to get charged 280 quid for service, where all it bloody is an oil change, filters, and they're going to do a diagnostics check so the bike can tell us what it needs doing. I know what it needs doing other than an oil change and filter change. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's really got under my skin now. I'm getting a tyre put on. The dealer's going to do that. I think that's coming in 240 fitted, so again, not cheap. So I've got a test ride as well of a bike for the few hours that the bike's going to be with him. I'm going to do a little video of that, and I've elected to go for the KTM 790 Adventure, the 2023 model. So looking forward to that. Thankfully it's the better bike in this weather than the bike I'm on now. Hopefully you enjoy that, but come back in a second once I've had the bike serviced, and I'll let you know how I get on. Cheers guys. Oh well, the day isn't over yet. I just got back to KD, and the courier who was bringing the tyre for the 890R hasn't turned up. It's on its way. There's nowhere, don't know where it is. It's Manchester somewhere. They can't tell me what time it's going to come. So the service is done, no issues, all sorted. So as we expected, just oil change and diagnostic check. The rain's about to come down heavy, so I'm going to finish the photography now, the video now. Don't want to get water in the camera. So I've got this till Monday morning, Friday afternoon now, so I might get out and do a few miles on it over the weekend. So not all is lost, and I'll come back on Monday and get the bike. But yeah, service, no issues, just waiting for the tyre to get done and all sorted. So thanks for watching the channel, really appreciate it. Catch you soon, and like and subscribe. Thanks guys, bye bye.